Welcome friends to One Stop Java Solutions. I am Snehasis, and in my last video I already described about the constructor. Okay, so and I will continue on that topic more discussion. Okay, so here I will show you that how to create the default constructor. Okay, so here I have for default constructor you just like this way. So there should be the a function. It looks like a function and there should be no return types and only opening and closing brackets. So this will assign the default values as per the means variable type. Okay, in your variable type. So here first variable int number is integer type, so it will by default it will store the 0 and it's a float type, so it will store means assign the default value as 0.0. Okay, so while you are creating the object here, suppose this is a object one I am calling with a simple default constructor. Okay, and if you execute this, so you can see that 0 and 0.0. And if I write another constructor, that is a parameterized constructor, that also I have written here. So here you can see that this is a parameterized constructor. It's taking two parameters as an argument. Okay, so and it said the first number is x and second number is y. Okay, float number is y and int number is x, and if you pass these two values. Okay, so here also in the same way you can write. So instead of object1 you just write object2, and here if you pass the values like 5 and 10.0, or you can add as a float, so you can provide that 10.0. Okay, so here it's also int, so you have to write float because the second value is float. Okay. Oh, it's giving error. Okay, float you can give the 10, so 5 and 10. So like this way, if you run this, so here you can see it's giving only. Okay, so for that object2 also you have to write, you have to call the object second object2's get number and object2's float number. Okay, so I am calling these two methods. So this parameterized constructor will assign the value. So now if you execute this, so here you can see that for the first object1, it's giving the default values, and for the second parameterized constructor it will giving the second values whatever you have passed. Okay, so I will this. And only one more thing, that means for default constructor, okay, compiler is responsible, okay, to generate the default constructor. If you not give anything for default constructor, if you not give anything, suppose if you remove this code and see, if you run this, so you will get that error, because if you write the parameterized constructor, then and you have already declared the parameterized constructor and you are calling here that the default constructor. Okay, so in that case you have to write the default constructor as well. Okay, so otherwise it will give you the error. And if you don't write anything, so if you remove this part, whole part, don't write any constructor, then compiler will provide you, so this part will not execute, and these also you have to comment it out, and these also comment it out. Okay, so in that case you can see that if you don't write any constructor, then compiler will automatically generate the default constructor. Okay, and keep in mind that JVM will not create the constructor. Okay, compiler will provide you the default constructor. Okay, and if you are not writing any constructor, okay, then only compiler will generate the default constructor. If you write the parameterized constructor and if you try to call the default constructor, then it will give you error. That just I show you that it will not allow you to do that. Okay, so every class in Java, okay, must have constructor. Okay, means either you will provide, okay, default and parameterized constructor, otherwise if you will not provide anything, compiler will generate the default constructor on behalf of you. Okay, so it is explicitly it will provide by programmer, or by default it will provide by the constructor. So if you write any constructor, it's parameterized or anything, so if you write any parameterized constructor, then it's good practice, you must write the default constructor as well. Otherwise if you just call the default constructor, it will give you error. Okay, but because if you write the parameterized constructor, compiler will not provide you the default constructor. Okay, so that you have to keep in mind. So here if I paste the block of code, so here you can see that I have written both the constructor, default as well as parameterized. If you not write parameterized constructor, then it's fine, you don't have to write the default constructor as well, you can write, or if you not write, then also there is no problem. But if you write the parameterized constructor and you will not provide the default constructor, you cannot create the default object. Means default, you cannot create the object with default constructor, means like this. Okay, so you have to either pass the parameterized value, means you have to pass the parameter as a value of the constructor, or otherwise it will not allow you to create that default object with default constructor. Okay, so hope it's you can understand the logic behind the constructor. So instead of using constructor, you also can write, means using the setter and getter method also you can initialize the values, but in that case you have to write extra code. Okay, so first you have to create the object and then you have to create the setter and getter method. So here if you see, I am directly assign the values using constructor while I am executing the means creating the object. But if you don't write, means if you don't pass this as a means this line, if you comment it out, okay, and if you don't need to comment out, you just remove this, and you want to send some values, so in that case you have to write object op2 dot set float int number, and you can give 5. Okay, and similar way ob2 dot set ob2 dot set float number, and here you can see 10 point suppose 0. Okay, sorry, here it will not allow 10. So like this way you can give, and here you can see that it's 5 and 10.2. so here instead of using means parameterized constructor, I am only use the default constructor, and then I have called the setter method to set the values. So in that way you also can initialize the values, but using constructor it is very easy, because otherwise you have to write the extra code, you have to define the setter method. Here you can see I have already written the setter method. So this setter method you have to write. Okay, and then you have to write the you have to call from here that object dot both the setter method. So these extra code you have to write in your program. Okay, so it's good practice if you use the constructor, so it will means reduce the code and also complexity of the program. Once you write means of creating the object, at the same time you can assign or initialize the values as well. Okay, and in that case also compiler will provide you, means here you have already written the default constructor. If you don't write this block of code, then means any line of block of code, then also it's fine, compiler will provide you on behalf of you. Okay, so that is the concept of constructor. Means using constructor you can initialize the values. Okay, and also one thing keep in mind that constructor don't create any object. Okay, constructor, the main purpose of constructor to initialize the value at the time of object creation. Okay, so it's not means it not used to create the object. Okay, so that thing also you have to keep in mind. So hope you can now clear about the concept constructor, about the constructor means the logic and why you will use the constructor. Okay, so this topic I guess you can understand and it's clear to you. So if you like my videos, you can click on the bell icon, and also you can subscribe my channel, so once I upload the next video you will get the notification. If you not watch the previous video, you can see the link in my description box. Also you can see the my channel's link also there, so you can go there and whatever topic you want to learn, you can see all the videos. Okay, so thanks for watching this video.